You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Really looking forward to getting into part 2 of our Cabral host calls this weekend. Yesterday, we answered about 8 of our community's questions. Looking forward to answering another 6 to 8 today. Each and every week, we do our host calls on the weekends. They are Saturdays and Sundays for about 25 minutes. We take about 6, 7, 8 questions that have come in over the past couple weeks. And as always, really do appreciate this time being able to answer your questions. So let's get right into it. Today's first question is from Kevin. He writes in, Dr. Cabral, so I have been following your work for about 5 years when I bought and implemented the teachings in A Man's Guide to Muscle and Strength. I was looking for a program to follow, and this fit the bill perfectly. I've used the structure of the programs in the book ever since. I rotate these programs every 4 to 6 weeks and try to increase the weight throughout the programs before cycling off to a new one for 4 to 6 weeks. My question is around the SAID principle. There are many exercises that I plateaued. For example, take a bench press or a seated row. Each of these are part of a 4 to 6 week program, so I may do these 6 times a year. And when I first started working out with your book as my guide, I was able to increase the weights as I went along. But with both, I can't move past the weight that I'm currently at. And like you book lays out, when I cycle off the program, the next program usually has another yet different variation of these exercises. Logic tells me that I'm going to plateau with every exercise. It's not like I'd be able to keep adding weight year in and year out to each one of these. What do you do when this happens? Thanks for being our guiding light in health, wellness, and fitness. You've helped transform mine and my wife's life. Thank you very much, Kevin. Really appreciate the kind words and appreciate the question as well. So I think you're right on both accounts, but I want to make this a little bit simpler for you. So here's the deal. The SAID principle, for those who don't know it, I've spoken about it many times on Training Thursday. The SAID principle is how we change our body in terms of mind, muscle, emotions, you name it. So it's specific adaptation to imposed demands. Now, in terms of weight training, it means this, is that if you want to change your body, if you want it to look more muscular, if you want it to look more toned, if you want to burn body fat, if you want to do any of these things, we need to apply a little bit more pressure every time we hit a plateau. And that, like Kevin was saying, every 4 to 6 weeks, we typically change up your workout program. Now, if you didn't change up your workout program, there's only a few ways to make better results. That's adding more weight to each exercise to fight against more resistance. Okay. It's adding more reps if you're doing, let's say, a body weight based exercise, or it's adding more total volume. And that means the actual amount of sets that you're doing. So you might keep the weight the same. You might keep the reps the same, but instead of doing 3 sets, now you do 4 sets. That's also how you make an improvement, more volume. There's one more way, which is also more time under tension. And time under tension would be if usually, let's say you're doing a squat and it takes you like a second to drop down from the top to the bottom into your movement, you might take 3 to 4 seconds. And that means now your muscles from an eccentric standpoint, from like the negative of the exercise as you're going down on the squat or down on a bench press, any one of those things, or down in a push-up, is your muscles are now under more tension for a greater period of time, and that will give you better results as well. But like Kevin's saying, what you're really doing is, exercise is not difficult once you understand its complexity, right? So, you think about this. You can only do a vertical or horizontal press, which means you can only press in front of you or overhead. That's it. So that's a chest press or shoulder press. Then you can only pull yourself up or down. That's a pull up or a lat pull down. Or you can do a horizontal row into your body, and that's just called a row. Okay, so that's all you can really do for compound movements with the upper body. We can also do a chop. Now, you can do some single joint exercises, but we're not talking about those. We're talking about the heavy hitters. And for your legs, you're really just talking about variations of a squat, a deadlift, like a Romanian deadlift, a lunge, and a step up. That's it. So it's how do we get creative with those? But it actually does matter, Kevin. So here's the thing, because you're doing variations of all those exercises. So one day you're doing a horizontal row. Another day you might be doing a high to low rope row using a neutral grip rather than an overhand grip, which is just a little bit more internal rotation of your shoulders. I don't want to get super technical. I love getting super technical. Happy to do that on a different show, but not for what we're trying to get out of on these house calls. So what I would say is this, is that you keep switching your program every 4 to 6 weeks. And yes, you are coming up with different variations of different lifts to do. But also what I would say is, yes, you're eventually going to hit an upper limit unless you honestly care about adding like 2.5 pounds or 5 more pounds to your squat. So if you're already doing well, you're doing well. So when you switch your program, though, you still get results. It's not that you don't. The difference is this, is that if you still feel a little bit of soreness that next day after that workout, well, you did create some type of tissue change, some type of inflammation, which is then your body's going to rebuild those muscles stronger, better, with more sarcoplasm, with more protein filaments, like all of those different things. And so what I'm saying is, long answer is this, is that keep switching up your programs, keep doing what you're doing, try to add a little bit more weight. If you can't, try to add a little bit more reps if possible, or add a little bit more time under tension, or, which I didn't mention, you could even give yourself a little less rest between sets. So there's always ways that you can increase, but don't always be so concerned with having to max out more and more weight. Because like you said, if you're bench pressing 80-pound dumbbells, are you going to go to 85s, 95s, 100? Are you going to do 120-pound dumbbells? Probably not. So there is going to be an upper limit. But again, after 4 to 6 weeks, you're switching that workout again. Last thing, all right, last tip, because I could go on and on about each one of these, is that you can also, on your next program, starting back with the bench press, when you revisit it in maybe like 6 months or so, you might start at a heavier weight this time rather than the lighter weight. So you might do 2 heavy sets at your heaviest weight rather than just 1 heavy set. Okay, hopefully that helps. Let's move on to Pana, and it's P-A-N-A, Pana. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I love your podcast, and I listen every day since I found you. My 15-year-old son came back from camp, and all he wants to drink is Gatorade because he was just told it was good for him. In our house, we do not have any soft drinks or ever juice. He just drinks water. Please let me know your thoughts are on powder drink and what would be a good alternative to power drinks, especially when he's very active. Thank you so much for all that you give us. Thank you for those kind words too. Really do appreciate that. Really simple, really straightforward. All of these Powerades, those types of things, keep in mind they typically have paint to them. Now, I know you're saying like that's impossible. They would never do that. Anytime you see a neon yellow, neon red, neon blue, neon green, any of these drinks, they actually have paint to them. They call them dyes, yellow 5, blue 3, red. Like there's all different numbers corresponding to all of those colors. Keep in mind the color, it sounds cute, it sounds nice. That's actually paint. That's an actual dye that they put in your water. That's not food coloring made from food like beet, which would be red, of course, right? Turmeric, which would be yellow. Those are actual paints. That's what you give dye to. Now, it's an atrocity that we allow people to actually drink these things. But again, that's why you can't rely on your government for regulations. So those are horrific. Please do not give those to your children or to yourself. What would I recommend? I would recommend squeezing some oranges, if you'd like, into fresh water for some natural glucose if you want at a sporting event. That would be fine. You could squeeze any type of fruit, actually, like grapefruit or whatever you'd like. But what I like to do for water, and what I give to a lot of other people in my recommendations, is fresh squeezed lime and a pinch of sea salt. And that is your own, I call it natural Gatorade. And I talk about that all the time. So natural Gatorade, I've been doing this for myself for quite a long time. I like lime. In Ayurvedic medicine, lime is even more potent and healing than lemon. So you're going to get the nice potassium from that, and then you balance it with the sodium from sea salt. So how much sea salt do you use? Well, you use sea salt to taste, which means you add as much sea salt as you'd like until you say, this is too salty. And typically it's just a pinch, though. You put a little bit between your thumb and index finger, pinch the sea salt, put it right in there. Redmond's sea salt or Redmond's real salt is a great one to use because it's so micronized. That will work great. Hopefully that helps. But again, if you want fresh squeeze fruit juice into water, so it's diluted, a couple ounces of fruit juice with another 6 ounces of water, diluted pinch of sea salt. That is all they will need, anyone will need in terms of hydration. If when in doubt, you're on the run, you can also do a coconut water if you would like. I'm just not a huge advocate of coconut water. The sugar does build up in it, and it's high potassium, lower sodium. And if you're sweating a lot, I like to get the sodium back into the system as well, which is why Gatorade can work. It just has all those colors in it. Okay. Rebecca's up next. Hello, I bought your Healthy Belly because I was sure I had H. pylori. I just got an endoscopy that confirmed I'm negative for the bacteria. How long is the shelf life for this? And are there any alternative uses for that I could benefit from? I hate to waste this unopened bottle. Thanks for all you do. I listen to every podcast without fail. Rebecca, thank you very much. I appreciate you listening to every podcast. I really do. And the truth is that if some people said I don't think I'm going to listen today, I don't think I'm going to listen tomorrow, really drop down, we wouldn't be able to reach as many people. So I do appreciate people tuning in on a daily basis. I mean, when I see the numbers of people tuning in, that gives me the energy to say, okay, yeah, I've just worked from whatever time in the morning to this time at night. I need to do my podcast. I need to get this information out. So appreciate that. That's definitely the energy that I need. The answer is fairly straightforward. On an endoscopy, just like anything, H. pylori can become dormant and it can wake back up. It can be at a low level, but I don't disagree that you may not have H. pylori. That's a possibility without a doubt. Here's what I do though. I use the Healthy Belly. That's the product that you're talking about right now. I use that twice a year. The reason I use it twice a year is this. 1, it has zinc carnosine. 2, it has bismuth. 3, it has berberine. So what I'm getting there is a natural antimicrobial with the berberine. I'm getting bismuth or bismuth to help with any inflammation in the stomach mucosa. And I'm using zinc carnosine to actually help to rebuild tissue in the intestines as well as my stomach mucosa. I use that, I'm going to be honest with you, I use it usually twice a year. But right now, I'm on my 3rd bottle myself, and I don't have H. pylori. I continue to use it. One is, in a strange way, it helps to regulate my immune system to a greater degree. It helps me with allergies. Now, am I recommending it for people with allergies? No, because there's so many other things to do, like our allergy protocol. But it's a tremendous product for me. I've had H. pylori many times in the past. I shouldn't say many times. I've had it a couple times, but it was just undiagnosed, so that's why I had it for so long. And it's a great product, and that is a product that can only help you. There's no downside at all that I could see to using that product. I would simply just use the product. You can take one with breakfast and one with dinner, or 2 with breakfast or 2 with dinner. You just take 2 capsules per day. Really simple. A great, great product. Can't recommend it enough, honestly. Okay. And it's also a part of our Candida and bacterial overgrowth protocol. We believe in it so much. It's part of that protocol as well. All right. Rena's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. So grateful for your podcast. I'm in my 60s and have gout and have a bone spur at my foot. Could you possibly recommend any cures for this? I've heard you talk about CBD oil and wonder if this is something that I might try that would help. Also, I've been studying the blood type diet as someone recommended it to help, in my understanding, my personal susceptibility to diseases, hypothyroidism, gout, osteoporosis. Is there any truth to the antigens on your blood, lectins on foods, and how it affects the way your specific blood breaks down food? I'm O positive and definitely have the diseases that it lists that I'm prone to for my blood type. So I'm curious to try this type of diet, but I want a professional opinion as there are so many fads out there, and I'm looking for more of a lifestyle change rather than a temporary fix. I highly respect what you're doing for the world. Keep up the great work, Rena. All right, Rena, thank you. Great question. I've answered the blood type diet a few times. You're welcome to just search blood type diet or blood type at StephenCabral.com/podcast. But also just go to StephenCabral.com/583. Everything I talk about today, nutritional supplements like Healthy Belly or the Candida Protocol or anything at all, I will link up in today's show notes at 583. So your question is a good one. I actually studied up at the Didamo Center in New Hampshire. I think they are brilliant doctors up there. Fantastic. Here's the issue with the blood type diet. It's only one thing. Like literally, if you only focus on eating foods for your blood type, you can certainly get benefit. But it's not going to eradicate yeast. It's not going to eradicate H. pylori. It's not going to eradicate bacterial overgrowth. It's not going to eradicate leaky gut. So it's not going to do any of those things, right? It will help with the immune system, no doubt about it. But it's one thing. And also, just keep in mind, blood type O, so I've obviously studied these quite in depth. Again, works fantastic for some people. Keep in mind the blood type O is oftentimes the kapha body type. And the kapha body type just sometimes is more prone to gout or those types of things. Not always, but definitely low thyroid for sure. And pitta body type. One thing I just want to mention to you, just reading over your little synopsis there, you have gout and you have osteoporosis. Those are two things caused by high acidity or acids. All right. We already know uric acid, crystals, calcium, those types of acids and buildup can cause gout. And we know that it can cause osteoporosis because when your body's more acidic, then it will pull calcium and minerals from your bones to help alkalize the bloodstream. So again, a lot of people confused about acid and alkaline, but there's really no confusion. There's no disagreement that your blood has to maintain a nice steady 7.356, nothing really above 7.45, nothing really below 7.2. So, but it does that. It doesn't do it by magic. There's no magic to how it happens. If you have something acidic, what your body does is it needs to find minerals somewhere, and those minerals then help to balance the acidity because the minerals are alkaline and the acidity is acid. So all you're doing is trying to buffer it back down to 7.356 or up to 7.356. So what I would say is be very careful about all the acid-based foods you're eating. And you can obviously just do a simple search for alkaline foods versus acid foods. Don't put too much credence into the whole diet of it, but just keep in mind, again, I'll do a whole podcast on this, but the simplicity is this. Fruits and vegetables, fruits and vegetables, fruits and vegetables, fruits and vegetables. They are alkaline. Make that 60 to 80% of your diet. If you do that, you'll be a healthy human being, whether you're following the A, the B, the AB, or the O blood type diet. Okay, I just keep that in mind. Now, I know that there are intricacies, and yes, everyone should follow the intricacies, but I've talked about this before on my podcast. How do you progress? You don't start to sprint intervals until you know how to walk, and then you know how to jog, and then you know how to run, and then you can do intervals, right? So let's just take this one step at a time. Plenty of time for everyone. Plenty of time in your 60s. You can get this right, no doubt about it. Just start now. Just get it right now. As for CBD oil, it's fantastic. CBD oil could potentially help, but just keep in mind, CBD oil is not going to alkalize the body. So use CBD oil for the pain, use it for the inflammation, or use it for the osteoporosis, but don't use it to help to better alkalize your body. And if you can't do a lot of walking, if you can't do things like that, what could help with the kind of this detoxification? Personally, I would do the Dr. Ball detox, but again, I'm biased, right? I would certainly do that. I think you'll get phenomenal results, but I would also do something like a rebounder or an exercise bike to get your body moving, because I know you probably can't do a lot of walking right now if you have gout and bone spurs. Hopefully that helps, and I'd love to hear your results. Kara is up next. Kara's, I've read it, but I'm just going to shorten this a little bit, just in terms of time constraints. But of course, if you go to stevencabral.com/583, you'll be able to read all of these questions in full. So Kara writes, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. I'm so appreciative for your house calls. Thank you. And I always leave a stellar rating on iTunes review." Thank you very much, Kara. I really do appreciate it. And you wrote, "I always leave a stellar rating." So if you rated it multiple times, we thank you even more. I'm just kidding. But yeah, thank you for that. I really do appreciate the ratings on iTunes as well. So it says, "I answered your last question on high eosinophils. And your eosinophils came back on your CBC in July. This is the first time they've ever been high. You had your food sensitivity test and your environmental allergy test run through your PCP, 0 environmental. Food sensitivities run through Genova, only high on red grapes, which I rarely have. Maybe this is why I get a headache after one glass of wine. A couple of foods in the yellow, some peppers, white potatoes, sunflower seeds, cabbage, garlic, green apple. Quite a few foods in the low, such as broccoli, egg yolks, mushrooms, and more. It's funny, I can already tell what's going on with you. Do I need to cut out all these foods that show up besides the ones that were high? Could have the ratings as very low, as well as be the cause for my eosinophils being 18.5. I just had my blood redrawn yesterday to make sure the lab did not make a mistake. The next test will be a parasite test. Although I have some preliminary answers, I will schedule a consult directly with you, even if you're a few weeks out. I read that high eosinophils can indicate cancer, so I'm a little concerned. I eat super healthy, paleo-ish, consume some greens every day. Thank you for all you do. Then there's a little addition. So you went to the lab, your eosinophils dropped from 18.5 to 6. Doctor said he wasn't concerned, even though they're still high. Could do a stool test or retest in 3 to 4 weeks. He says could have a parasite, could be exposed to something in the environment. When I asked if his protocol, if it is a parasite, he said something antibiotics for stubborn bugs or supplements. What are your thoughts? Ingratitude, Kara. Okay, so let's take care of this. And again, one thing I want to say is this is something I spend my entire life and every waking hour of my day essentially doing, except for when I'm home at night and I'm thoroughly trying to be as present as I can, obviously, with my 2 girls, with my French bulldog, with my wife. But I want to let you know, this is what I eat, breathe, and sleep, because when I wake up, I'm still thinking about all of these topics. And so I've just seen this so many times, and I can just pick up these things. And I know it's going to sound strange, but the foods that you mentioned, white potatoes, green pepper, cabbage, sunflower seeds, we're talking about potential nightshade, potential FODMAP-based foods. You mentioned garlic. You mentioned cabbage. You mentioned eggs. We're talking about high sulfur-based foods, right? So we're talking about potential detoxification-based issues, potentially high histamine issues causing these sensitivities, causing the higher eosinophil. So here's a couple things. So again, we could talk about this for quite a while. And if you do set up a consult, I'm happy to chat with you. We do that through Skype all over the world, literally. We are probably about 4 weeks out right now. But again, don't let that stop you if you feel like that's the best course of action. Okay, so let's get you an answer now, though. All right, I would run an organic acids test. And if you'd like, you could run a stool-based test. I'm not sure if you'll show up high for parasites or H. pylori, but you can certainly do that through a stool test. Make sure it's a stool test, not a blood test. Organic acids test, highly recommend, because you're reacting to things that candida or yeast would feed off of. Now, why would eosinophils be high? Really only 3 main reasons. 1, environmental allergies, okay? Something in the environment. But keep in mind, it might not just be outside. It could be a detergent that you're using, a new toothpaste, a new whatever. It could be anything, okay? Now, number 2, you could be reacting to food sensitivities. Now, it seems like you did a IgG test. Great. But eosinophils can be elevated, not because of IgG. It can be elevated because of IgA and IgE as well. So keep in mind, the test that you did, I don't think it tested all of the different immunoglobulins. So that's another answer. You can still be eating a food that you're sensitive to, but from an IgE perspective. That means immediate, not delayed, like the IgG. And again, I recommend the IgG over everything for sure. And I'm sure your doctor did that as well. Sounds like you have a very good doctor, which is great. And then the last part is parasites. Yes. So any one of those 3 can be causing the high eosinophils. Personally, I would run the organic acids test. It comes with my review anyways, and then you actually get a 30-minute call with one of my health coaches. That's where I would start, no doubt about it, because it sounds like you have an issue where feeding gut bugs or bacteria is a problem. Okay. Ada is up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I really enjoyed all the education information from each of your podcasts, and I get something out of every episode. Thank you for that. My question today is really where to start. I'm in my 40s, struggling with trying to figure out why my weight's plateaued. Do weight training 3 times a week, hike 3 or 4 times a week. Medium athletic build, but need to tone up. I eat salad, fruit, veggies, some meat 3 to 5 days a week. I feel like nothing works. Also extremely tired all the time. As soon as I hop in bed, I fall dead asleep. I don't know if what I need is a candida cleanse, a heavy metal detox, food sensitivity, or your weight loss testing. I can't afford to do them all right now, but what I'd love to know what my particular body needs, as I know we are all different. Could you possibly recommend what test that would give me the most information of what my specific body needs are in order to gain energy and lose weight? Thank you so much, Ada. All right. So yes, I'm absolutely happy to help you with this. And we'll make this the last question of the day. Ada, couple things. One is you could join, and again, anyone's welcome to this. We don't advertise it. It's a small group, but if you want to join cabralsupportgroup.com, that is our private online forum. It's just a Facebook group. Great group, though, of positive people, all like to help each other. You can join that for free. And anytime you want to ask a question just about what lab should I run, feel free to ask me right on there. Happy to do that. I check in once a day on that. And of course, our health coaches are on there as well. So hands down, easily I can give you the answer that you're looking for. My number 1 test for you would be the weight loss test, and we'll link that up in the show notes. Hands down, weight loss test. If you're already doing a good job with your nutrition, you're clearly exercising enough, you're doing a lot of the good things, let's run that weight loss test. Let's look at your adrenals. Let's look at your thyroid. Let's look at your hemoglobin A1C. Let's look at your vitamin D. Let's look at your thyroid levels. All of those things, cortisol, estrogen and progesterone, DHEA. Can't recommend that test enough, especially in your early 40s. Want to have that checked out. So that's my first. Second recommendation would be the organic acids test. Third would be hair tissue mineral analysis. Can't afford all three. Those are the order of importance. Hormone testing first, then organic acids test, then the hair tissue mineral analysis. Now, keep in mind, you could just run the weight loss test. Here's my recommendation. I'll tell you exactly what to do. Weight loss test, then do the 21-day Dr. Cabral detox exactly as stated. Let us know in the support group how you did. We'll give you additional recommendations. By that point, after 3 weeks, after you took your test, that's the time that you'll be speaking with your health coach. You'll do a 30-minute call. Already reviewed your labs, and the health coach will give you both of our recommendations, because it's not just me. My health coaches are fantastic. They're going to always check with me, and they're going to give you the recommendations. And then you're going to see how that goes. Now, after that, you could choose to do the Candida cleanse without doing the organic acid test. Why do I mention that? Well, if you do the organic acid test, it gives you so much more data than just gut health. It looks at mitochondria, neurotransmitters, ketones, liver function, B vitamins, all that. But if you can only afford one, well, the Candida cleanse is about the same price as the organic acid test. So you could just do the Candida bacterial overgrowth test cleanse as well. And again, that's healthy, meaning that everyone could benefit from it. But it really helps those people who need to eradicate that bacterial or Candida-based overgrowth. That is exactly what I would do. Run the weight loss test, do the 21-day Dr. Cabral detox. Keep in mind, the 21-day Dr. Cabral detox literally will save you money. Like, I kid you not, it costs less than $100 a week. You're doing 4 shakes for 2 of those days. So now take out all the money you'd spend on groceries there. You take out all the money you'd spend on breakfast and all the money you'd spend on like a mid-afternoon snack. Literally, people tell us like it saves them money. That is not why you should do the Dr. Cabral detox though. But I'm just saying that I understand everyone's expense. Remember, I've been through all of this myself, 17 years old, all through college, trying to find money to spend on nutritional supplements and lab tests. And so I want to be cognizant of that fact, and I want to really appreciate the fact that people are spending their hard-earned money on these lab tests and supplements. And that's why I only recommend what I know is going to help you out the most. So thank you everyone for tuning into today's Cabral House Call. Be sure to check out tomorrow's show on our Motivation and Mindset Monday, my favorite way to start the week. I hope it is yours as well. Take care, everyone. Before you go, I wanted to ask you this question. What if I could teach you in just a couple of hours how to transform your thyroid, hormones, adrenal, cholesterol, blood pressure, blood sugar, weight loss, energy, mood, brain, pregnancy, anti-aging, or many other health-related issues? After 20 years in private practice, after seeing and overseeing 250,000 client appointments, I sincerely feel I have the real-world data and have found the answer you've been searching for. So what I've done is spent hundreds of hours of my own time refining what you need to know in order to uncover your underlying root cause health issues and then begin to rebalance the body and bring it back to a state of robust health and wellness. I'm going to teach you exactly what I do in my private practice so you can understand how you got here and now what you need to do in order to heal. You'll receive all of the important success checklists, protocols, and even ways to customize it to make the program fit your busy life. And you'll get all of this at a fraction of the price. Let me save you the time, money, energy, stress, and frustration of not knowing what to do next. Instead of reading dozens of books on the topic and seeing multiple practitioners, I will condense everything that you need to know in just a few hours of video tutorials that you can watch and listen to anywhere. Together, we will make this healing process an enjoyable one that you can take with you for the rest of your life. I wish you all of the best of health and happiness, and I hope to be able to guide you on your healing journey through my Health Results Accelerators. Simply choose the health imbalance you're currently suffering from, and by the end of today, you'll know what went wrong and how to get well again. I guarantee it. For details, head over now to stevencabral.com/courses.